Hello and welcome to another quick look. Me, GamerWolfSix of Temptation's Ballad, a game that is also one of the many several that have been kind of suggested to me. I don't have a number next to it, so I couldn't check. So I do want to note ahead of time that this is for free on itch.io, but it's been on hold for about a year while the creator also works on Repeat, which is another visual novel that I'm going to eventually get to doing a quick look of. Hyena. Also, I'm sorry. I'm a furry, and I was looking at the screen and I was like, keep your mind clean, that's a loincloth. Anyways, let's start. And reset my face. A child perishes upon his cage throne or perches. I swear I can read. Not a life, nor a choice to call his own. Brittle bones, broken to fit their mold. Groomed and taught an ideal foretold. In neither heaven nor hell, shall he find rest, till he flies outwards upon the path possessed. Perhaps one day my soul shall soar free. Oh, how I wish to be anyone but me. Author? ? Chapter 1. The Liar, the Commander, and the Chosen One. Good time for suddenly gunk to get in my throat. Ooh. Some say the city of Axia stood at the center of the world. A bustling hub of arcane research, hard-working craftsmen, and a home of kingdom's royal family, there was rarely a dull moment within the noble city's history. Is this the city or the country? Okay, it's the well, I guess there's the city right here? And then the country, that's a small amount of country for a city. But anyways, sorry. More humble individuals would retort that Axia was actually a simmering shithole, Anyways, while the church would accuse such individuals of being uncouth hooligans beyond salvation. Hooliganism. They would also reassure everyone that the city of Axia was indeed very, very important. But to what extent? Little do the world and its inhabitants know that at its alleged center, a story was slowly unraveling that will ultimately determine the fate of everything. Oh, and I forgot to also say, if you want me to push this thing up the visual novel list, tell me, please, so I can, weigh it and put it sooner. If you wanted to. Like many stories taught throughout the ages, this one begins with 3 idiots. A rather hopeless bunch, really. Kind of like the guys from Guardians of the Galaxy or something. With some time and bumbling about, however, they will hopefully mature enough to face the trials to come and take a stand at the center of the world. The story begins with a liar, a commander, and the chosen one. Zoomies. In Marauders District? Marauders District, Bonebreaker Mercenary Company, Guild Building. Hi, keeping an eye on the idol. Well, calling it a guild building was a little generous. This place was more of an abandoned tavern that was haphazardly renovated into a semi-usable living space. Mugs of mead littered the broken-down bar, along with racks of weapons and overdue bills from the Adventurers Guild. It was an unorthodox company, to say the least. The walls of the old tavern, or rather, Bonebreaker Mercenary Guilds, were consistently drowning with the shouts of drunken mercenaries, clattering weapons, and barely hidden sensual moans rumbling from the supply closets. Boo-woo. Oh, I should probably also check if this is 18 plus. Yep, contains not safe for work stuff. Cool. Though I wonder if it's one of the stray furry ones. Probably not. I can't think of any straight furry ones besides a Morris, I think. It was highly recommended that visitors avoid the backroom supply closets unless they find themselves on an awkward site, and maybe want to join in. Or some fun. Take your pick. The Brown Baker Mercenary Company has always been just like its captain and namesake. Everyone's here to kick ass and have a good time. Damn, I should have made a joke like ass. But anyways, or rather, almost everyone. The mirthful ruckus of shouting drunk mercenaries was audible even in the attic, albeit slightly muffled. It was just enough for Cole to practice his loot in relative peace. There isn't much left to the imagination here. The young hyena strummed the tattered strings of an instrument, humming softly over the intoxicated clattering from downstairs. He was technically supposed to be doing weapons training at the moment. In fact, he is, because he's a bard. You know, those guys that strum their lute pretty loudly to make the guys fight harder or something. Bill Cole was never one to simply do as he was told. He plucked the C pound chord and immediately winced at the sound. Out of tune already? This old thing ain't gonna last much longer. Ah, shit! There was an ugly twang, followed by a sharp yelp. As Cole had tightened the pegs on the decrepit lute, a string snapped and went painfully against his finger. I was gonna joke that was the sound of the thing snapping, but it sounded more like somebody crashed into something. He winced and sucked his thumb in dismay. Bollocks. Looks like that's the end of practice for today. How the hell am I gonna get another loot without Papa finding out? Damn, another string fell off. Suddenly the entire building shook with a resounding boom, as heavy as the entrance doors were kicked open. The guild rumbled with whooping and hollering cheers from dozens of mercenaries in the lobby. Sorry, I need to put the fan on, cause it's hot in here even though it's October. Cole's shoulders slumped as he slowly forced himself onto his feet. And he's back. The din of hollering men was enough to rattle mugs on the bar tables. The boss is back. There's our man. Morrow, how's the jar? Shit your traps. The room immediately fell silent. Morrow Bonebreaker grumbles as he stomped through the door, his massive shadow darkening the entire room as he turned towards the bar. A dozen fellow mercenaries spilled. Might need to turn it down just a tad. This audio checking is kind of in the middle of stuff. There we go. Dozens of mercenaries spilled into the lobby, along with their captain, each slinging various steel axes and swords over their shoulders. Marrow's glass eye winked in the dim room as he walked, twinkled, his very presence commanding the attention of every person in the vicinity. He staunched the mug of mead from one of the mercenaries and down it in one gulp before slamming down the bar table. The large, towering hyena wiped his muzzle with a disgruntled sigh. Horrible, utterly rubbish, and disappointing. The moment those bandits saw us Bonebreakers approaching, they dropped their weapons and surrendered while shaking in their little boots. The old lady down the street could have put up a better fight than those sorry sods. Weren't folks saying that the city was supposed to get more rowdy now that the king and queen kicked the bucket? Bandits, my ass! The axe hadn't tasted a good fight in years. The other mercenaries in the lobby grumbled in disappointment. Ah, shucks, Captain. You mean you didn't even get to fight? A sly grin suddenly stretched across Mirror's face as he thumbed the handle of his great axe. Well, I didn't say that now, did I? A few of those measly bandits were stinking mages. Shot a few little firebolts at us, thinking they were smart. Mero licked his lips. Thing quite as satisfying as clobbering a few magic-y nitwits to the ground. Still doesn't make for the disappointing fight, though. Make up. The voice suddenly mumbled from behind the heavy entrance doors. Ready now? The bandits were arrested and we got paid. Isn't that enough? Duh. But that's the point of being a merc if you can't even have fun kicking arse. The front doors. I mean, I guess I shouldn't, they wouldn't show it, but that also doesn't leave much to the imagination either. The front doors creaked open as another shorter hyena heaved through the crack of the guild's entrance. Hamish, the mercenary captain's right-hand man, rolled his eyes as he lugged a heavy bag of coins onto the bar. The money, a stable job, but the big sack, but this big shack is all we're living in. It's a guild building. Hamish rolled his eyes and ignored the overly cheerful captain. And the fact that the City Watch isn't clamoring to arrest us anymore. That should be plenty reason enough. Daw, lovey. There you go again, talking sense again. I wish they changed the colors, but maybe we won't be seeing these characters that much, and that's why the colors haven't changed in the thing. You know, in the little name thing right here. Can't you just let the complaining in peace for once? Hamish tapped his chin thoughtfully. Nah. Somebody's gotta keep you in line. Psh. You ain't no fun anymore. Wait, he's Mero, I think? Yeah, he's Mero. Hamish, and he must be Hamish. Hamish tried to hide a fond smile as he turned towards the dozens of other mercenaries in the room. He plucked a handful of copper and silver coins and shoved them onto the bar. By the way, everyone, Captain says drinks on him tonight. The entire guild erupted into cheers and whoops and hollers as all of the rowdy mercenaries raised their tankards in glee. Yes, you're the best captain we could have ever asked for, boss. You bet your ass I am. Mero chuckled and threw a loving arm around Hamish's shoulders as he settled down at the table. A few of the mercenaries working at the bar eagerly passed more tankards of ale to the pair of hyenas. Mero grinned and took another deep gulp. Gotta make her fun in this boring-ass city now, don't we? Speaking of which, Hamish shot Mero a withering look as he felt a large hand snake down the small of his back and fizzled teasingly at the hem of his breeches. A little early in the morning for this, don't you think? Daw, lovey, the job was so boring. You don't mind cheering me up a little, don't ya? Ow. Mero felt a sharp pinch and retracted his arm with a pout. Maybe later. You didn't have anything you need to do? No, didn't you have something you needed to do? Something to do? Mero's eyebrows perked up with realization. Oh right, how have I forgotten? He leapt up and began rummaging furiously through the sack on the bar. Mero glanced up at the nearby mercenaries, getting deep into the cups. By the by, have any of y'all seen my boy? I think I heard him strumming his darn lute in the attic again. The should really let loose and join us at the bar more often. Mero's chest swelled with pride. There's my talented little lad, always refining his hobbies. You could learn a bit from his dedication. I swear I can read. Mero turned towards the stairway and stomped his feet. Cole! Cole! Cole, come down! Your papa's got something for you. Yeesh. Ah, there he is, my darling boy. You know, I could hear you without all the hollering, Papa. Ah! Cole yelped as the massive hand clapped him on the back and sent his tiny frame face first onto the floor. Ow! Papa, watch it. My shoulder still hasn't recovered yet. Duh, sorry there. I just can't help but get excited from seeing my pride and joy. Especially when he's so dedicated to practicing his passion so damn much. How's that little lute of yours treating ya? Oh. Cole's shoulders slumped. It's, broke. When I was practicing this morning. Weren't you supposed to be doing weapons training this morning? No, I mean, I'm trying to be a positive influence here. Now, where was I? Surprise, my boy. Marrow grinned gleefully as he pulled something large from inside the sack. Cole felt his jaw drop. He watched as his father slowly unwrap a brand new glistening lute, furnished brilliantly with handsome dark wood. Ooh. He hesitantly reached out to grab it, his paws gingerly tracing the cool, smooth surface. Is this for me? Thank you so much, Papa. You really shouldn't have. Because I didn't. Haha. Anyways, Marrow barked with laughter and slapped his son on the shoulder. Nonsense. Anything for my darling boy. So, let me guess, this guy's not, long for this world for some reason? The Brown Breakers have gotten a lot of jobs lately, since the king and queen croaked. I had to spend all the coin on something. A wave of warm giddiness washed over Cole's chest as he gently strummed the strings of his new lute. Sharp and cheerful notes rang out, perfectly tuned. Cole laughed, delighted. Which isn't good, because hyenas laugh when they're nervous or in pain. Oh, it's something I saw somewhere. It's like, hyenas actually laugh when they have anxiety. This is awesome. Thank you so much, Papa. Like I said before, anything for my darling son. Cole suddenly grimaced as he glanced at his father. Uh-oh. He's getting one of those daydreaming looks in his eyes again. One day, you'll grow into a great man who will take over the Bonebreaker Mercenary Company as my successor. The speech. Cole stood up straight and tried his utmost to resist rolling his eyes. You'll grow into a strong mercenary, an even greater man than I. The Bonebreaker's legacy will be yours to lead down the glorious path it's destined to follow. People will sing stories of your deeds for ages to come. Yes, I've memorized this whole bit, Papa. Not to be pessimistic or anything, but have you noticed that your son is like half the size of the smallest merc in the company? I can barely even lift an axe. Worry not, my dear boy. I understand your pain. I was a late bloomer as well. Yet here I am, captain of the greatest and most fearsome mercenary company in all of Axia, as the king and the kingdoms beyond. A late bloomer? Papa, I'm 23 now. Pretty sure the chances of growth spurts are miraculously low at this point. Cole gulped as his father leaned down on one knee and placed a supportive hand on his shoulder. His face was brimming with such faith and pride that it was hard to look at him directly. No matter the odds, know that I believe in you. You're gonna show the world what you're made of one day, and the world will watch in awe. Remember, boy, you are the son of Marrow Bonebreaker. Cole felt an uncomfortable wiggling of doubt raising in his throat, but at the sight of his father's intense and loving confidence, he swallowed it back down. Sure, Papa. One day. Marrow's laugh boomed throughout the building. Cole yelped as a painful hand ruffled his hair, playful. I swear I can read. That's my boy. Now, like anything in life, that day won't come without putting some work into it. That's why I think it's high time you start taking on mercenary jobs again. What? But I still haven't recovered from the injuries from my last job. Cole jammed his finger desperately at the bandages hanging from his shoulder. Bah, it's been weeks. If it ain't getting better with you cooped up at home, it'll get better if you got for some fresh air. Mur's voice turned gentle. I ain't asking for the world, boy. Not until you're ready. We'll take it one step at a time. For today, just go out and take one job listing from the Adventures Guild, and bring something home for your work. I don't know, it could be flower picking or something. You know, one of those low-level jobs, or fighting slimes. I don't know. I haven't ever looked at those jobs. Be it a few coppers, or vast heapings of treasure, know that I'll be proud of what you do. The life of a great man is a long one. Well, hopefully it is. There's no need to rush, but we should always be moving forward. A mix of affection and dread rolled through Cole's chest as he glanced between his father's brimming pride and the new furnished loot in his hands. His grip tightened on it as he sighed. Right, Papa. I'll do my best. Attaboy. Go show him what you're made of. And if you run into any cowardly magic users out there, give him a good old throttling for me. You know what I always say about magic. Cole sighed. It's a tool of the weak and spineless. Tch, and don't ya forget it. Nothing more satisfying than clawing a wizard across the face while they're crying, my spells, my spells. Where's me magic orb? Right, of course. Anyway, I gotta go show the world what I'm made of. I'll see you later. Take care, my son. Cole grabbed his loot and scuffled towards the door. His gaze was trained at his feet, far from the beaming and living grin on his father's face. Cole had scarcely taken a step outside when he was pulled aside by Hamish. Hamish? Yeah. Hey, is that like a name from like Amish people? Hey, Hamish, you do a good barn raising. Who was wearing his usual gruff looking look of concern. Cole mentally groaned as he was dragged to a quiet supply closet in the back of the tavern, guild building. He chuckled at the usual sound of lumens rumbled from many of the closets. All the men in Bronebreaker's mercenary company knew what happens back here. Oh, Hammy, dragging me straight to the supply closets is a little direct, isn't it? Plus, aren't you all chummy with Papa? I'd hate to be an awkward homewrecker. Hamish's eyebrows shot up so quickly, Cole almost thought they had left his face. What? No, that's not what I... Ugh. Hamish muttered under his breath and slammed his fist against the wooden walls. Quiet down. The moans from various closets grew slightly more muffled and quiet. Ooh, just slightly. Some from one of the closets whimpered out a very quiet "sorry," followed quickly by a chorus of snickers. Bunch of horny dumbasses. Anyway, on to the real business. Hamish suddenly swiped at Cole's bandaged shoulder. Hey! I was worried they destroyed the loot. Cole stumbled back towards shock. Hamish's eyes narrowed. The bandages abruptly faded into nothingness, like wisps of heat on a summer day. Underneath, Cole's shoulder appeared completely uninjured. The air buzzed. It was faint, but it was unmistakable, the soft glow of magic. Oh, I was like, so wait, was he just so good at his claw thingies that he was able to do it, and it just kind of withered away? Some kind of metaphor or something like that? But hey, he knows magic. A mirror illusion, eh? When did you learn a trick like that? Cole's breath hitched. He felt his stomach drop. I can explain. Please don't tell Papa. Shh. A hand rested gently on his shoulder as Cole fought the urge to flee. Hamish sighed. Relax, Cole. I'm not here to get you in trouble. Not everyone's as old-fashioned as your father. Honestly, most of the boys in Bonebreakers are fine with magic. Cole let out a breath of relief and scowled. If you're fine with it, you could have just left me alone. Hamish sighed and rubbed his temples. I'm just worried about you, kiddo. I think it's high time you have a long conversation with your pa. Cole's scowl deepened as he crossed his arms defensively. What are you talking about? Hamish scratched his chin and closed his eyes, as though cautiously preparing his next words. Are you sure you really don't want to take over the Bonebreakers when you're older? Or are you really sure you want to... Wait, are you really sure you want to take over the Bonebreakers? What? Anger surged through Cole's chest as he gripped the cold wooden handle of his new lute. Of course I do. Papa didn't raise a disappointment. I'm not saying that you're a disappointment. Are you? What exactly are you trying to say then? Cole took a step forward, the fur in his mane standing on end. I'm Kalodi Bonebreaker, son of Marrow Bonebreaker. Kaladi, the most famous and feared mercenary in all of Axia and the kingdom beyond. I don't need Papa, this little lanky, to tell me what to do. A heavy, tense silence hung over the hallways as Cole glared into Hamish's unflinching eyes. Finally, the older man sighed. What is up with all these texts I'm getting lately? Oh, sorry, I was wondering if it was something important. Alright then, you will follow your father's footsteps. What about your magic? Oh, if you're trying to blackmail... Hamish held up his hands. No, I'm trying to hold a conversation, kiddo. I just think that most of your talks with your father have been rather one-sided. Wouldn't it be healthier if the two of you sat down and took some time to talk about how you really felt? At the very least, let him know about your talents. Magic is the tool of the weak and spineless. And you're neither weak nor spineless. Well, at least spineless. Sorry, I had to have a joke. You've got real skill with magic for your skid. Are you just going to keep lying and hiding it from your pa to live up to his ridiculous expectations? Yes. There was something satisfying about getting under Hamish's skin. Papa's right-hand man usually held himself with unwavering sternness. Now he was just massaging his temples in frustration. You certainly have your pa's hard-headed stubbornness. Are you truly determined to pretend to be a big, axe-wielding barbarian for the rest of your life when you clearly don't want to? Papa is Marrow Bonebreaker. What are people gonna say if they find out that the strongest mercenary in the land has a weak little pipsqueak for a son who can barely swing a sword? I'll fake it till I make it somehow. Lying to Papa feels better than disappointing him. If Marrow's ego is truly that fragile, I'd smack him out of this guild myself. Go talk with your father, Cole. He loves you dearly, magic or otherwise. I'm sure he'll understand. Yeah, sure. And I'll be the next king of Axia, Cole thought himself, as he stomped past Hamish with a huff. The wooden floors creaked as the older hyena turned to follow him. The guy's worse than a mother hen. I gotta get out of here. Cole glanced up with a smirk. Speaking of uncomfortable conversations, when are you gonna start officially courting Papa for real? Just want to brace myself in case I come home to an official second dad. Whatever calm collectedness Hamish held immediately collapsed as his face erupted in a harsh red hue. Excuse me? That's none of your business. Cole smirked as he shoved past the sputtering hyena. I'm just saying, maybe once you're officially my Papa number 2, I'll actually listen to your nonsense. Anyway, ta-ta. I'll got an invention job to wear myself out of. With that, Cole stomped out the door and left a sputtering Hamish behind. Again, he doesn't leave much to the imagination with that loin cloth or codpiece. I think would be a codpiece. Sparrow's Roost, the inn and tavern. I guess we're meeting the second character? Meanwhile, across the city, an actual functioning tavern, a young badger slumped his way home with heavy shoulders and an even heavier heart. Skid Strikewood's face was grim as he stumbled home to the tavern his mother ran, returning home empty-handed yet again. And this time he returned bright and early in the morning. The day had barely begun, the cool morning dew settling on the wet grass below. As Sid approached the steps of Sparrow's Roost Inn and Tavern. Sorry. I'm not reading a lot recently, but still it's kind of hard. You have to warm up. His eyes lit up to the sight of a familiar face waiting for him. Hey, Betsy. How's business at the tavern going today? Hope the customers have all been treating you well. Sid sighed and plopped down on a large stone between his next to his longtime friend. As for me, well, the morning has just started and it's already a shit day. He buried his face in his hands. Got kicked out of my scribe apprenticeship. Third day on the job. That's gotta be a new record. Mom's gonna kill me at this rate. How am I supposed to tell her? Sid shook his head and grabbed a nearby broom lying next to Sparrow's Roost Inn's entrance. He absentmindedly began sweeping the dirt and grime off the tavern steps. Now, just some random thought came to mind. One thing I liked about that one game, Kingdom Come, you can't read in that game. You have to learn how to read, and that's kind of cool. I like those little details in, like, RPG games. Rhythmic chores always helped him clear away the dreadful thoughts. Yeah, it do be like that. Chores also helped relieve some extra work from his mother's already massive workload, which was always a plus. Sid's mother was always working, bustling about the tavern, and serving customers day and night. His heart lurched painfully in his chest when he returned home every night to see her slumped over the chair in exhaustion. Her hands had grown coarse and callous, and she has complained of back pain as of late. Naturally, and I probably should sit up so I don't all of a sudden get, the bendy spine. Sid often showed up at the Sparrow's Roost Inn and Tavern to help out whenever he could. Usually because he got kicked out of yet another apprenticeship job. Okay, so why do you keep on getting kicked out? Oh, so let me check my face. Yeah, we good. Sid sighed and paused his sweeping as he looked down at Betsy. She silently stared back at him, ever the good listener. Hey, Betsy, this is the 5th apprenticeship I got fired from. Is Betsy a cow or something? Like, a cow. I really want to make Mom happy and get a cushy job, but none of this feels right for me, Moo. And a movie chuckle left Sid's throat as he tried to imagine himself as a scribe. Me, cooped up in a cushy customer job? Commoner job? Commoner. What, you want to be an eye or something? I mean, this is an adventure thing, I guess. I mean, I am a commoner, though, through and through, but I always dreamed of being something bigger, Sid twirled his broom and practiced swings, slashing the air enthusiastically, as though it were a sword. Now, Sid the Adventurer. That rolls off the tongue way better. He does have a build, I'll give him that. Going out in the world to perform heroic deeds, amassing glory, and having the day like the champions in the storybooks. Sorry, I'm gonna take this thing. I'll be right back, sorry. And back. Sorry about that. Family need me to go help them with something. Anyways, what do you think, Betsy? Are we gonna eventually find out who Betsy is? Click. Ribbit. Of course. Betsy, as usual, did not answer, for the simple fact she was a toad, and not some toad anthropomorph, just a regular toad. Ever the good listener, she continued staring up at Sid with deep, understanding eyes as she perched her usual basking rock. Also, Toad's gonna die, or the mother's gonna die, probably. Who knows? Right, I'd make it a fantastic adventure. He does have the muscles. Bards will sing of my legend one day. Just you watch. Ya-ha! Sid swung his broom sword in the air with wild and brash sweeps. He imagined fending off an invisible foe as he jammed and thrusted his heroic weapon to and fro. Yeah, take that. Whoops. His foot suddenly slipped on the wet cobblestone, and he tumbled forward with the grace of a damp log. As Slid tumbled, he lost his grip on his very heroic broom sword and yelped as it soared in the air, right as the tavern doors creaked open. Sid, dear, are you... Ouch! Sid's mother winced as the flying broom handle smacked her right between the eyes. So his mother's a bird? Mom! Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Didn't mean to... He rushed to his mom's side as she gingerly rubbed her bruised forehead. Leah looked up at her son with an exacerbated yet fond smile as she picked his cheeks. So, is this one of those things where either A, he's adopted, or B, it's one of those worlds where if two animals do it, it just kind of picks to one, like, species or something? Or there's also hybrids, but he doesn't look very birdy, you know? Anyways, it's quite alright, dear. Your mother is made of tougher stuff than this. You're pretending to be a sword fighter with a broom again? Because the windows were open and the whole tavern could hear and see you. What? They saw? Sid's ears flattened against his head as he flushed pink. That was the private conversation. With your frog? Ilya glanced down at Betsy doubtfully. Excuse you? Betsy is a noble toad and a good friend. Sid watched his mother sigh deeply and buried her face in her hands. It looked like she was doing her best to try and keep a straight face and avoid chuckling. Or crying. Sid couldn't tell at this point. Oh, sweetheart. I heard your, conversation earlier. Were you fired from your apprenticeship again? Sid's shoulders slumped as he stared anywhere but his mother's prying eyes. Well, fired is a strong word. I prefer the term gently let go. They said they were downsizing. Give me the pink slip. Oh fuck, what are the other terms for it? Of course, dear. He felt a gentle wing on his arm. Sid glanced down. His mom looked so tiny in comparison. The scribe, the blacksmith, even the wood furnishers. You've been let go from practically every apprenticeship job in our neighborhood. Sweetheart, maybe I may not be as charismatic as your frog friend, but please, don't be afraid to speak to me if something's wrong. Nothing's wrong. Well, kinda. Guilt started creeping through his chest. They've been through this conversation countless times. I just can't get into any of these ordinary jobs. The thought of getting stuck indoors as a scribe for the rest of my life feels miserable. I want to go out there and see the world. Don't you want your son to succeed as a great and glorious adventurer? I know I have it in me to be somebody instead of another commoner, and there in the market district. Somebody great. Ilya's grip on his arm tightened as worried temptation filled her face. Trepidation? Oh, Sid, I know it's difficult, but the reason your father and I work ourselves to the bone, day in and day out, is because we hope to create a better future for you. Work so hard because we hope you don't have to. I want you to be happy as well, but many adventurers don't often return home. I thought of you going out in the world alone. Lena snapped her beak shut, shivering. Oh, Mom, don't worry. I'm the toughest cookie around. You can tell by my glasses. Are you really never gonna let me be an adventurer? Ever? The Adventurers Guild is just a short walk away from the Marauders District. It's so close, I can practically taste it. I suppose. Yes. Is that a yes? No. Ines sighed, and Sid emotionally deflated like a tapered balloon. Oh, don't give me those puppy eyes, sad puppy eyes. Your father and I had a long talk this morning, and we came to a decision. She took a deep breath. If you're going to go out doing wildly dangerous adventuring jobs, it would be great comfort for your father and I if you had trusted friends by your side. If you find a few dependable friends to form an adventuring party with, I suppose you can go out to the Adventurers Guild. Adventuring Guild? Was there like an Adventuring Guild IRL? I mean, I guess there was an Explorers Guild, maybe. Or Mappers Guild or something? I don't know. Sid perked up and then immediately groaned. Both of you assume I have friends in general. People always laugh at me. Well, perhaps if you stop talking to a frog all the time. Betsy's toad. Ella sighed with a defeated smile and pat her son on the shoulder. It was impressive, considering she could barely reach it even when standing on her tiptoes. Just like me. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm like 5'8", 5'9", depending on who you ask. Not particularly a tall boy. Alright, dear. Why don't you go out there? Get out of here while the day's still young. Go mingle with the Marauders District and see if you can make any friends. Oh, and before I forget, I packed some snacks in case you are hungry later. Be sure to share them with your friends if you make any later today. Sid stood, stunned, while his mother stuffed several wrapped sandwiches into his tiny pockets. He's got pockets? People have pockets in this universe? Wait, you really giving me a chance? Thank you so much, Mom. I won't disappoint you. You never do. I love you, sweetheart. Sid, already prancing halfway down the street, practically vibrating with excitement. Love you too, Mom. Oh, and if you don't manage to find anyone for your adventuring party, your father's looking for an assistant at his cheese shop. Ooh, cheese. And he's gone. Then he clasped her hands together and tried to ignore the anxious knot tugging in her chest. She looked down at Betsy, croaking happily on a rock. Oh, wise frog, what do you think? What are the chances my son comes back a wiser and more sensible young man? Ribbit. Elena sighed. Thought so. Damn it! It's kind of funny when the game does the same thing I do. Okay, we got enough time for our third person. Church District, Grand Cathedral. I guess this is where we get our golden retriever. The Grand Cathedral stood coldly against the morning air, the sun's harsh rays reflecting off the bright walls like jagged knives. Has there ever been a thing like this? I mean, I guess there's the Sword in the Stone, but don't think that's real. Most of the inhabitants of the Grand Cathedral had already left the main hall to perform their daily routines, save one. The goodest of boys. The lone knight stood solid in the empty corner of the hall, her sword and shield drawn steady by her side. Wait, there's a girl in this universe? Like a main girl character? Now that I think of it, I'm not sure if that was today's conversation or yesterday's. I guess there is Winds of Change where you can be a guy or a dude and there's like one girl you can date. Or I guess since you're a girl you could date all the guys. Even all of them. Her blade glinted off the morning sun with precise swings. Her stance and posture were picture perfect, as they were rigid and anxious. Art Emmy Joanna Gunther resumed her daily training as a holy knight of the church, as she had done every day as far as she could remember. Her blade hand paused as cheerful voices echoed from one of the cathedral's side entrances. Entrance high. Bishop Katrina glided elegantly into the main hall, with half a dozen church youths followed closely behind like a flock of ducklings. She carried a commanding presence as she directed the youths to their duties. The floors on this side halls will need a thorough sweeping, along with the entry of the east wing and staircase. Understood? The church youths mumbled, but nodded quietly. At the side of the bishop, Artemi hastily sheathed her sword and bowed deeply. The bishop, Katrina, barely spared her glance. A few of the church youths suddenly noticed her and stared. Hello. Mary gave a small crowd a shy and little wave. Most of the youths sneered and scrunched their noses. Several whispered amongst each other with less than kind words. Why are the children such terrible children? Mary dropped her hand back to her side dejectedly. Why is she even here? All that little mutt ever does is pretend to swing her sword around the cathedral all day while the rest of us do the hard work. And she's not even a real knight. Talk about unfair. The bishop Katrina's heels clicked sharply on the cathedral's stone floor as she turned towards him. Her spring is quite rude, children. The whole group bowed their heads apologetically. One of the bolder youths grimaced up defiantly, or glanced. Apologies, Your Excellency. We're just a little curious. Yes, well, let me diatribe about this. Yes, it appears many of you are ignorant of certain important topics. You all surely know of the creators chosen. Throughout history, our great creator and chosen champions worthy of her holy light to protect the church from the evils of this world. It is prophesied that each chosen will play an important role in guarding the world from destruction. Our Artemi is one of such chosen. On the night of her birth, they say a beam of celestial light descended from the heavens above and blessed Artemi with the Creator's holy strength. That's why she carries such powerful celestial magic within her veins. One day, when the chosen reaches her full potential, she will be able to draw the Creator's holy blade from the pedestal and deliver the world from a terrible fate. Until that day comes, she is to continue training under the guidance of the church. A few of the church youths snickered to themselves as they glanced at Artemi, standing awkwardly in the corner of the main hall. But Your Excellency, how does the Creator choose her champions? Of all people, why was she chosen? The Bishop Katrina either did not notice the disdain in the youth's voice or decided to ignore it. We simple mortals cannot hope to fathom the will and intent of our Creator. We can only have faith that she chose well. Now, enough idle chatter. Move along to your duties, all of you. The half dozen youths nodded politely and scrambled about the hall. Out. The heavy silence descended upon the cathedral. Bishop Katrina turned towards Aunt Mary's corner of the room. Aunt Mary gulped and straightened her posture. Good morning, Mother. Daughter. Aunt Mary felt her mother regarded her coldly. She could never tell whether she was pleased or disappointed by something. When it came to herself, it was usually the latter. You were late to your swordsmanship practice this morning, so I heard. Aunt Mary winced Anne bowed her head. Temmie, yes, but only by a few minutes. That is no excuse. You were the chosen one. The world has higher expectations of you than that of a mere knight. My apologies, Your Excellency. I'll do better next time. You say that often, yet... Dread crept through Aunt Mary's chest as her mother sighed and rubbed her temples. In any case, I saw that note you left at my door this morning. I wish you wished to speak with me? Yes, Mother. Her heart thumped rapidly in her chest. Our Tammy inhaled and tried desperately to steady her breath. She never felt comfortable while speaking, especially to her mother. Your Excellency, I have been diligently training with the Grand Cathedral since I was a mere child to prepare for my role as the Creator's Chosen. But throughout all these years, I have rarely had the opportunity to leave the walls of the cathedral, and not once have I stepped foot outside the church district. I understand that the church feels its best for our safety, but with no experience of the outside world, I feel very ill-prepared for my duty. That's why, Atemi nervously saluted and bowed. Your Excellency, I humbly request for a small task or mission outside the church district. No. The Bishop Katrina's reply was immediate. Atemi flinched, completely taken aback. Huh? May I ask why? Atemi gulped as Bishop Katrina stepped close. They circled around like a predator, wearing a cold, harsh glare. Look at you. You know what I see. No, wait, you know what I see? Flaws. Nothing but flaws. Horrible, cowardly posture for a knight. You barely even speak without falling apart like a nervous child. Why, mere moments ago, I witnessed you being too intimidated to even strike a conversation with the church youths. Don't even get me started on your training. Bishop Katrina leaned forward until her face was just inches away. At Mary Joanna Gutter, from what I've even seen, you are even without a doubt of the weakest chosen one throughout all of history. Her words pierced Mammy's chest like cold daggers. The young knight took a deep breath in a futile effort to steady herself. Do you wish to take on a mission outside the church and become a laughingstock of the entire city? I don't think so. Stay in the church, continue your training, and do as you are told. Lest you bring more embarrassment to the church and our family name, daughter. But I must take on missions if I'm going to gain experience and improve. You're not even close to ready, and you know it. Man, she just enjoys digging down on her daughter. But are you going to continue with such uncouth argument here? In public? Right in the middle of the main hall? That is exactly why you're not fit to leave the cathedral yet. That's better. We simply want what's best for you, daughter. Oh ho ho! Is this a bad time? The two of them immediately glanced up to see a large polar bear clad in high-ranking church armor approaching them with a jolly grin. Otmeri immediately saluted. Knight Commander Grank. Good morning to you, sir. Bishop Katrina simply gave the polar bear a quiet nod. Rook laughed jovially and patted Aunt Mary on the shoulder. It's a fine morning indeed. I hope I'm not interrupting anything of importance. Your Excellency, would it be alright if I borrowed the dear Aunt Mary for a few moments? By all means. This was an unproductive conversation to begin with. Excellent. Come on now, Aunt Mary. We don't have all day. Yes, sir. The Knight Commander, Grank, casually strolled to the far side of the main hall, watching the bishop until she had left the room and was fully out of earshot. Otami followed closely behind, while fidgeting nervously. Knight Commander? You're a very busy man. It would be irresponsible of me to take up too much of your time. Gurk laughed and clasped her hands playfully on the back. Worry not. I always have a moment to spare for my finest pupil. I overheard that whole wretched conversation. Relax, young'un. Your mother frets way too much. Here's a little something to cheer you up. They were selling fresh cinnamon chocolate chip cookies from the bakery in the market district. Help yourself. Aunt Mary's stomach rumbled as she watched Gronk pull out a fresh box that filled the air with pleasant, sugary scent. She shook her head nervously. Thank you, Knight Commander, but I must refuse. As the Creator's children, I must resist such worldly indulgences. Oh, come on. You used to love these. I'm no longer Child Knight Commander. I must act as a true Holy Knight would, or should. Well, I'm the commander of the Holy Knights, and I snack all the time. Well, that's very different. Knight Commander, you're an adult. You have things all figured out already. Tch! Grank nearly choked on a chocolate chip. Mother says I must get my act together, or I will be a disappointment and shamed the title of the Creator's chosen. Greg hummed cheerfully and tossed the box of cookies into Aunt Mary's face. His deep laughing echoed throughout the main hall as Aunt Mary scrambled to catch it before the pastries scattered on the floor. Well, as Knight Commander of the Church, I outrank you, all-powerful mother, and I command you to loosen up and have a little fun, alright? It's difficult when the eyes of the world are watching your every move. Remember to be kind to yourself. I suppose. Aunt Mary popped a small cinnamon cookie into her mouth. The rich, sweet flavors flooded her senses. A small smile spread across her face. She rarely had the opportunity to enjoy such treats within the confines of the cathedral. Ah, there's that smile. It's good to see my favorite people happy for once. Thank you, Knight Commander. Oh no, don't bow at me. Relax. I'm just experiencing gratitude for your kindness. You are a very busy man, with the endless number of tasks. You really shouldn't be wasting your time on me. There's no such thing. Speaking of my many tasks, I happened to hear your conversation with the Bishop Katrina earlier, and I believe I possess a solution to her woes. Grank fumbled through his bag and pulled out a handsome leather box. I, Grank Stormborn, Knight Commander of the Holy Church, have a mission for you. Really? The cookie box clattered to the floor as Aunt Mary hastily gave a formal salute. A half-eaten chunk fell from her mouth and streaked a line of melted chocolate across her armor. I gladly accept. But what about Mother? I mean, Her Excellency's orders. Like I said before, I completely outrank her. I also completely agree with you. As the Creator's chosen, you'll need some experience with the world outside the church district, if you're going to be a worthy protector. So, let's start off with a simple yet very important mission, shall we? It's collecting flowers from the flower district. Greg slowly opened a leather box. Oh boy, this doesn't look ominous. And Tammy gasped. Inside was an elegant black obsidian crown, its surface shimmering like the night sky. Encrusted upon its facade were 4 gleaming red rubies, their finery polished surfaces gleaming like a freshly spilt blood. This was surely no ordinary piece of jewelry. Your task is to deliver this package the prince at the royal palace. Apparently, His Highness ordered this black crown to be specially made for his collections and whatnot. This should be a fairly simple task, but it'll be your first time stepping inside the church district. Why not use this chance to get familiar with the city that you're supposed to be protecting? Go out and explore it a bit. There's no rush. I feel like this is going to end badly. You should at least send, somebody to, some low-ranked person to be like, hey, I'm going to watch you just in case. Because this isn't like delivering a box of cookies or something like that. This just seems very important. There's lots of great snack foods in the southern part of the market district. Did I skip something? Familiar with the city. I'm honored to be tasked with such an important mission. Thank you so much, Knight Commander. She gingerly held out the small leather box and frowned. Held the small leather. Excuse me, my ignorance, but why are we not addressing the prince as His Majesty? Ah, yes. The young prince is technically the ruler and true king of Axia, ever since the late king and queen passed away several weeks ago. Creator bless their souls. His Highness has decided to spend a year studying under the royal advisors and thoroughly learn his duties before attending the true coronation ceremony. Seems fair enough. The poor boy is still grieving over his parents' recent deaths. To think the kingdom expects him to take their place so readily. Grak shook his head. In any case, make sure this package gets to the royal palace by the end of the day. Are you ready? And Tammy nodded furiously. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for this honor, Knight Commander. Excitement bubbled up in Arturia's chest as she clutched the handsome leather box. This was a perfect chance to explore the world as she was destined to protect. As unfamiliar with the outside world as she was, this was just a simple delivery. What could possibly go wrong? Never ask that question. With us hitting the hour mark and everybody just kind of going around places, eventually, I think that's a good time to call it. This one seems good too. Where did I rank this on my list of ones that I want to do? Actually, wasn't this Temptations Ballad? Okay, that was something that I was kind of having on the list of things. Oh. Gosh, I keep on fiddling with these, going, what am I going to do with it? Also, is she going to get to her destination or what? Seriously. You there yet? But anyways, that's going to be the end of this quick look. Again, if you want me to play this game, tell me about it. And I'll nudge it higher on the, what is it? Visual novel list. I wonder what causes these numbers down here. Do they just kind of... Is this like hotfix here, chapter here, or something like that? Or is it this game like 25% of the way through? Who knows? I don't know. Also, this... Doesn't anybody realize this guy's kind of Nike? And I cut a puddle. Anyways, personally, I'm going to... Oh, I'm gonna put this one back there. And... put that one right in front of Soul Creek. Because right now I have it's Temptations Ballad, Soul Creek, Far Beyond World. You know? Not in posting these things, quick looks, but of what I'd do next. Because I still have Far Beyond World, short progressions. I mean, Sileo, we still got plenty of time to do that stuff. Dawn Chorus, yeah, that one's gonna... We're gonna run out of content soonish, so yeah. I mean, yeah, we just still have about half Well, let's have a good couple of months before we actually run out of content, but before I run out of content to record. But, yeah, end of this. So, spay neuter your animals, and until next time, on another quick look. Me, GamerWolfSix, some other game. Only if you want to play this game, it's on itch.io. Granted, it hasn't been updated for about a year now. A year and a month? Yeah. Because it do be like that. Anyways, until next time, thanks and see ya.